Hey everyone, welcome back to our Forza Athletics YouTube channel. My name is Charles Inferna. I'm the owner and lead coach at Forza Athletics, where our mission is to provide coaches and athletes with the tools and support they need in order to achieve their unique and specific goals. And with today's episode, I want to talk a little bit about, or I guess today's video for that matter, I want to talk a little bit about a video series and a podcast series and blog series that I'm putting together with all the content at Forza Athletics. So a couple of weeks ago, somebody encouraged me and they suggested that rather than the randomness of the videos and podcast episodes and the blogs, I try and put everything together in a better package for viewers, readers, subscribers, people who are interested in the content, and where you can find the content, one, and also where you can readily access it on a given day. So for example, recording this on Friday morning here, October 25th. So for the purpose of this video and some of the remaining projects that we have coming up, or that we have going on rather, we're going to focus a lot on providing more content and hopefully bringing not just throwers and throwing coaches with value, but some of the ideas focused around life and training and that work-life balance and coaching and all that fun stuff, not just for track related purposes, but for throwers, for track related purposes, and for other coaches and athletes as well. So I posted a question on our Instagram page on Forza Athletics. So you could find us on Forza Athletics across all social media platforms. Here you're going to watch this on our YouTube channel. We have a Twitter at Forza Athletics, and Instagram at Forza Athletics. Our website is forzaathletics.com. So it's FORZATHLETICS.com. at Twitter, at Instagram, and here on the YouTube channel. So for Fridays are going to be our release dates. So we have a podcast that we're going to be releasing here in a couple hours, a blog post that goes along with that, and this video for you as well. So I posted on Monday on on Tuesday on our Facebook, not even on our Facebook page, talking a little ahead of myself. The other day we posted on our Instagram page a question, about what podcast episodes, what would you like to hear me ramble on more about, or if I could get friends to come on here like I did in the past to hear them kind of ramble about as well. And a coach from the Midwest, a graduate assistant, chimed in, and I appreciate it, with two questions. One was about advice or thoughts about post-collegiate training, like how to get started as a post-collegiate thrower. And the second question she had was about how to get athletes to stay on task more, so more of like a time management piece, or how to be more accountable to commitments. And that's a episode that we are gonna record for next week, so stay tuned for that on not only throwing accountability in regards to commitments, but that would be for athletes in general, and I guess just people in general as well, not just athletes, but how to stay committed or how to stay accountable to your commitments. But for today's episode, to talk about advice on post-collegiate throwing, so I'm going to share some of my own examples, my own personal experiences, which aren't the best. So those would be the ones that definitely learn from and really not do what I did in those regards. And I feel comfortable saying that because it didn't work out as well for me as I thought it was going to. But for some of the athletes that I've coached, it has worked out pretty well. So I'll share their stories and their experiences and just provide some feedback of maybe from the 30,000 foot level of what it might take in order to make a smoother, successful transition to post-collegiate throwing. So here we go with number one. And they're not in very higher order type concepts. I think they're all important depending on the background that you have or the personal experiences you have. They're all going to be, each one of the three things that I talk about is going to be number one to you. But for the first thing that I want to talk about has to do with finding your reason why and your purpose for wanting to continue on as a post-collegiate thrower. For most of us who are not D1 athletes, who upon graduation pick up a sponsorship from somebody, or are national champions and multiple time All-Americans, where it kind of seems as though your path, if you choose to continue, seems to be kind of like set a little easier for you, if you will. So for those people maybe in the top 0.5%, you kind of have a clear idea, or you might have a clear indication of, well, I'm going to continue post-collegiate throwing because I've already hit the Olympic standard, I've already qualified for a world championship, I've already competed for Pan Ams or Junior Pan Ams, so you're already at that level, world-class competitor level. So for those of us who are not at that level, who might be Division II national champions or multiple-time Division II national champions, or All-Americans at the Division I level, or national champions at the D3 level, or you're just somebody who just graduated with their bachelor's degree in teaching and you want to continue throwing post-collegiately, one thing to really consider is, why do you want to do that? It's not a very glorious life. You see a lot of people on Instagram and Twitter and social media sharing their stories and their experiences about that. So I look at it in one of two ways. Either you're really committed to being a post-collegiate thrower, or you're just interested in being a post-collegiate thrower. If you can answer that question right off the bat, I think it'll make pursuing post-collegiate throwing for you much easier to navigate as far as the journey. If you're committed to post-collegiate throwing and you feel like you're on the cusp of possibly qualifying for the Olympic trials, or I'm going to make a junior national team, or I'm going to do something, then it sounds like you might be more committed. You're willing to think about other things that you might have to make a decision about a little bit more thoughtfully than somebody who might be interested. Interested for me would be somebody who they want to compete post-collegiately, but they're not willing to really look into the second facet that plays a role in this. So number one, figuring out why you want to do it. And then number two, what sacrifices are you willing to make in order to realize that dream, or that make that vision a reality? So for my own personal example, I realized that I wanted to continue post-collegiate throwing on a van ride home from Akron, Ohio in May of 2004. Competed at a meet where Kibwe was throwing, and Derek Woodsky and Judd Logan had the best throw I've ever seen in my life, throwing 70 meters with a 18-pound hammer. It was the coolest thing ever. And I PR'd at that meet in Akron. I didn't make the finals, but I had a personal best. So really, my last collegiate meet went fairly well for me. I didn't qualify for Division III Nationals. I didn't hit the B standard. Definitely didn't hit the A standard. So my career was pretty much over there at that moment. Driving home from the meet, I realized that I had wasted pretty much my freshman through junior year of college, just not really being committed, not being focused, not really being anything in regards to wanting to be a good collegiate thrower. I thought I wanted to when I went to Fredonia. I thought I was doing everything that I thought it would take in order to achieve my goals, and my goal was to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, that our Sports Hall of Fame at Fredonia. That will never happen. But I didn't realize that until we were driving home, where I set a personal best, did everything that I thought I could my senior year to give myself a better opportunity, at least to qualify for nationals. But then I was like, wow, this is horrible. Totally wasted 3 years, and I knew at that moment, driving from Akron back to Fredonia, that I was going to continue on as a post-collegiate thrower, because I thought, and this is, I've written about it, but I've never really told anybody in the YouTube world, I guess. I wanted to qualify for the 2008 Olympic trials in a hammer. That was my goal. I wrote it down in my journal. It's still written in my journal, along with everything else that I wanted to accomplish after I graduated from college there in May of 2004. But I wasn't as committed to achieving that as I thought I was. When asked about, what sacrifices are you willing to make as a facet of this post-collegiate journey, I wasn't really ready to make any of those type of commitments. I graduated. I was offered a job as a teacher right away. I was enrolled in grad school, and I was coaching. So I didn't really make any sacrifices. I got a job. I was enrolled in grad school because that's what everybody was told to do in 2004. Get your master's degree in education immediately, just in case stuff happens. And then I was asked if I wanted to coach the throwers at Fredonia. No real sacrifices there at all. I think taking the easy way out, but really more than that was I didn't know how I could tell my parents that I wasn't going to teach. I was going to throw and try and make the Olympic trials. I was a 50-meter hammer thrower in college, so I had to make up about 20 meters in 4 years, which wasn't really very realistic, but I didn't know that at the time, because I just figured I'm going to work hard, I'm going to be focused, I'm going to be dedicated, but that really wasn't enough. So when I'm talking about the sacrifices, like if you graduate in your college on the East Coast and the coach that you've been with for 4 years decides to take a job on the West Coast, are you willing to move across the country for them to continue training with them? That's a sacrifice, something to think about. Your career, like, are you willing to put some of those things on hold as regards to pursuing your passion of throwing? And it comes back to the committed versus interested piece. I don't know a lot of throwers that have full-time jobs besides throwing that have been really, really successful at the Olympic level. I know AG left his safe haven, if you will. He left home to train with Judd and Ashland in 2002, but he went on a handshake, right? It's from, if anyone's ever heard AG's story, AG or Judd could definitely tell it better than I can. But AG was a D2 national champion. He drove from North Dakota to Ashland. He didn't have a job. I don't know if he knew exactly what he wanted to do besides throwing. And he took a chance. Like, he made that sacrifice. He left everything that he knew at home to travel halfway across the country, I guess, to train with Judd and give himself the opportunity to make the Olympic trials. Obviously, it worked out really well for him. He made a couple Olympic teams. He's throwing the weight over 80 feet. It's one of the best American hammer throwers that we've had in the last 20 or so years. And then others that you hear about as well, that make a sacrifice of living in their car for like 4, 6, 8 months in order to train with somebody. So what are you willing to do in order to achieve that goal? If you really, really, really want to throw far, and you really, really, really want to make these Olympic trials or a world championship or whatever it is at that elite international level, think about what you're willing to do to achieve that. If you're someone like me, I'm not the best example for that, obviously, because I was nowhere close. But then you do every once in a while get an athlete kind of like Lewis, where he graduated from NAS in 2016, which was actually perfect, right? A perfect year to graduate. Threw the weight over 20 meters in college, so he was already qualified for U.S. Indoor Nationals as a D3 thrower. He won Nationals, and then he finished third in the hammer with 59 meters. So after his 4-year college career, from his freshman year to his senior year, he put on about 9 meters in the weight throw, if you can believe that, and about 20 meters in the hammer. So he was about a 40-meter thrower. He graduated as a 59-meter thrower. So Lewis was one of those odd athletes, those freaks that maybe come around once in a lifetime. So someone like him, he was already set up to be a fairly successful post-collegiate thrower. At least he knew he would be able to qualify for U.S. Indoor Nationals on a consistent basis because of where he threw during his college career. Someone like that, he was willing to make some sacrifices in those regards. He was a graduate assistant. He took on an internship. He stayed, in NAS for that first year. Broke the Puerto Rican national record, so he improved his personal best in the weight throw by about 2 meters that first year out. So he's on track, things going well this season, that he would throw at the Olympic trials. So he, from 60 meters to about 72 meters, he's on he's on pace to throw 12 meters farther after graduating from college. But really, there's a ton of other sacrifices. There's a ton of other, factors that play a role in this. You leave the friendly confines of your college if you don't so happen to stay there. There's things to think about like health insurance. What type of job are you going to have that supports you? If you're not a sponsored athlete, it's like you have to figure out something, right? Which ties into really facet 3 is having a support system. So what kind of people do you surround yourself with that are more excited or just as excited as you are in achieving your goals and realizing, that you're able to accomplish something that you set out for yourself? Who do you surround yourself with? What kind of support group or support system do you have that kind of, nestles you in a little bit, that is positive, is nurturing, is loving, is encouraging, that's going to keep you on track in regards to wanting to accomplish your goals. So if you're moving across the country and you're leaving your family, yeah, that's something that you might need to think about. But are you joining a group of other throwers or other like-minded individuals that are also have the same passion that you do? So are you moving across the country to train with another group of shot putters or discus throwers or javelin throwers, or just another group of athletes that are on the same club team, let's say, or the same training group or the same gym? So do you have people around you that have similar goals, that have a similar outlook on what they want to accomplish? That's very helpful, especially for the mental aspects of the training. If you're 2,000 miles away from home, at least you have somebody around you, or you have multiple people around you that are just as supportive and are just as motivated and just as interested in accomplishing their goals as you are. Social things play a role into it as well. It kind of double dips with the sacrifices you're willing to make. Are you willing to leave people behind if you have significant others? Is that something that you're willing to sacrifice in order to accomplish your goal? But it also goes into like the social environment as well. So if you're able to train, if you can only train at 7 o'clock in the morning, staying up late and partying and doing all these things up until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, as a 23-year-old, maybe you might be able to get away with it once or twice. But then are you really committed to accomplishing your goal? Which ties back to number 1 of, what's your purpose? Like, why do you want to do what you want to do? So in this case, being a post-collegiate thrower. So if you're on the cusp of qualifying for the Olympic trials or the U.S. Outdoor Nationals or U.S. Indoor Nationals, but you're a little reckless with training, with rest, with recovery, that's going to hinder that. So to me, it seems like, well, you're really more interested than committed, because you wouldn't put yourself in those other like social situations where it might take away from rest, recovery, nutrition, training opportunities, throwing opportunities, and the such. So I know it was kind of a little disjointed today for the first, for our first video back, talking about post-collegiate throwing, but I hope, it brings value to some of you who might be watching, who, can't, listen to pretty much similar video or similar message I shared on a podcast episode. I wrote something very similar on our Forza Athletics website under our blog of Forza Athletics Throwing. So there's a lot of different ways that you'll be able to pick up this content and this information. If you find it valuable, please let me know. If you think that it's not as valuable, let me know as well, so we can kind of switch it up a little bit. Obviously, you can see I'm in my basement here, so you have Hulk Hogan on one side, you have other Hulk Hogan stuff in the back, other track pictures, my bike, my training bike for like triathlon stuff and things like that, my desk, TV. It's kind of disjointed. Still trying to figure out what's the best avenue for recording these videos. But if you do find value in it, leave a comment here on our YouTube channel. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. That would be really cool too. Listen, if you do listen, leave a review on wherever you listen to your podcast episodes, either iOS, Google Play. There's a whole bunch of different other avenues that the podcast episodes are posted through Anchor. You can look at our website as well. I'm going to post stuff on the Facebook page, the Instagram page, Twitter page, pretty much everywhere Forza Athletics. You'll see this video posted, the podcast episode, like I said, the blog and all that stuff. But really getting back to post-collegiate throwing, and this is just my opinion. Like I said, this is just one coach's outlook on it. Figuring out your purpose. Why do you want to continue being a post-collegiate thrower? Are you committed? Are you just interested in doing that? You know, what sacrifices are you willing to make in order to realize that vision of yours, to realize that dream? You know, what other skills do you need to acquire in order to accomplish that goal? That kind of ties into it as well. And then, what's your support system like with number 3? Do you have people around you? Are you surrounded by like-minded individuals that are going to love you, support you, nurture you as you pursue this dream of yours, as you pursue your passion? You know, and if you don't have people around you like that, that takes away from it as well. So it might not necessarily be the physical aspect of not having a place to train or an opportunity to go to the gym or throw or something like that, but mentally it plays just it could take just as large a toll on you as it is any of the other physical things. So who are you surrounding yourself with? Who are you hanging out with that are going to give you the best opportunity to be successful and reach your dreams? So I appreciate everyone taking the time to watch this. Like I said, if you find value, please let me know. If you don't find value, let me know as well. If you think I rambled on too much, or you know, if you want to hear a different perspective or have other athletes share their stories, that would be cool too. Let me know. I would appreciate that, and I appreciate your time on this Friday morning watching our YouTube video on post-collegiate throwing. Thank you very much, and have a great day.